Oh, hey, Justin.
Hey, Darrin.
So, it occurred to me... Oh, by the way, welcome everyone to the Week 3 podcast.
Hiya.
Where the third week of the month we sit down and we just kind of talk about whatever we want to talk about. We take turns on topics. And it occurred to me that Chad, if you listen to our main podcast, you'll get this reference, folks. Chad does not have exclusivity on the nostalgia bait thing.
No, he doesn't.
Right. So in Chad's segment, one of his segments in our movies episode, available on all of your favorite podcast services, he will put some nostalgia bait on the line, toss it out there, see what's biting, and then give us a traumatic memory from our childhood to relive, usually along the lines of, like, either PSA episodes or, like, that one time in Captain Planet where a whole village tried to kill a kid who had AIDS, and so on and so forth. Yeah.
Yep, they always give us PTSD.
I'm going to do that today, but it's not going to be traumatic.
Good.
It's going to be nostalgic, because I'm more of a nostalgic kind of guy. Relentlessly optimistic is what one person called me, which means they don't know me that well. But anyway, when was the last time you were at an arcade?
I guess a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. You went to, and shout out, there's a very exclusively regional shout out to Hero Complex in St. Peters, Missouri, because I've been there too.
Yes, that's exactly where I was.
It's really cool. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But that got me thinking. I mean, we've got an arcade near where I live. It's part of a casino. It's like a whole, like, entertainment resort thing. And it's pretty cool. It's very big. Much like Hero Complex is very big. But correct me if I'm wrong. The arcades like that don't feel like when I say the word arcade, do they?
No, they do not.
Yeah, so today we're talking about arcades, the golden age versus what they are now. Are they better? Are they worse? They're different. That doesn't necessarily mean they're worse, but we'll get into it first. A little bit of a history lesson. The arcade has been around as long as since 1905. See, when you consider it, it started with penny arcades. Basically, any kind of venue.
I've read that comic strip.
Any kind of venue with coin-operated devices for entertainment. That's an arcade. Or at least the classic definition of an arcade. So, it used to be just you'd use like a penny for the machines. There'd be, billiards, non-electrical pinball, fortune-telling machines, that kind of thing. Slot machines, of course, pachinko, love testers, so on and so forth. And over the years, we would see, some of gaming's biggest names kind of cut their teeth in these setups. Like, there would be shooting games, like, the old shooting gallery thing. You've got a BB rifle. There's, like, a conveyor belt with some targets. You shoot it. Nintendo was involved with those. Sega had Periscope and Rifleman, two others that were kind of similar, except they were inside wooden cabinets, and you were shooting at things that way.
Okay.
There were racing games, all the way back to that. But really, when you say the word arcade, to me, I think of dimly lit, weird-ass carpet, and, rows and rows of cabinets. And really, that kind of started with, of all things, Pong and Space Invaders.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're talking the late 1970s. Space Invaders was huge. No one had ever seen anything like it before. And if you don't know what Space Invaders is, I urge you to pause this episode and do a 5-second Google search. And as soon as you see the logo for it, you will know what Space Invaders is.
Yes.
All right, you're back. Good. So, yeah, it was the simplest type of game that it somehow also had a story where, like, you're a spaceship, or more like an Earth defense thing, and you've got to, like, shoot at these aliens that are descending. And you should shoot where they're going to be, not where they are. Futurama taught me that. And then there was Galaxian, which was like Space Invaders, but actually in space. And Then we had Pac-Man in 1980, which the fun trivia fact about that is the guy who developed the game was looking to make a game for women, and he noticed that women like to eat. And that is his quote. That is not mine.
Yeah.
And he thought, well, what do women like to eat? Everybody likes pizza. And so he just took a slice out of a pizza, and there's Pac-Man. It really is that simple.
Okay.
But cast your mind's eye back. Let's say the 80s, the 90s, our formative years.
Mm-hmm.
When I mention the word arcade, tell me what goes through your mind.
Aladdin's Castle in the mall in the town where I grew up.
That was a popular chain of arcades, because I know they had a few of those. I've never been to an Aladdin's Castle, so kind of paint me a picture here.
So it was right off the food court.
Mm-hmm.
And the exterior had like this, I don't want to say it had Arabian-style turrets, but it was castle-like. It evoked images of a castle. But the font of Aladdin's Castle was very much...
Disney, please don't sue us,
Yeah, well, I think it was around before that movie.
Okay.
But it's that style of
that font,
fluid kind of script. And you walk in and there was just this, like, I want to say the carpet was red and black and gold and dimly lit. And this is before LED lights, so all the lights were halogen.
Mm-hmm.
And they had this, like, soft yellow glow to them.
Yeah.
And there was the ticket, the prize booth. When you first walk in, straight ahead, there was the prize area. And then to either side, there were just video games and pinball and air hockey and, you name it, it was there.
Yeah. For me, there was an arcade, another popular name for an arcade, Tilt.
Huh.
Which we've seen, there's several tilts that I've encountered over the years. But this was in our mall, and it was one of those things where when I became cognizant of arcades, I was looking for an excuse to have my grandma go to the mall for something, so I could sneak off and go to Tilt. And yeah, we had like the wood grain change machine, that you'd pop $1 in for. Sometimes it was quarters, and then eventually it became tokens.
Yep.
Which I miss the tokens. I don't like the digital system that everyone has now with a card. I get why they do it.
But the tokens had a visceral feel to them.
And each place had their own.
Yeah.
But yeah, it felt, and it was an easy way to say I'm next in a game. If someone's playing a fighting game or a racing game, or whatever, you can just put your coin up there and be like, all right, that coin's mine. I'm up next. And we'll get into a funny story about fighting games in a little bit. But yeah, this was like black carpet. I still remember it with like flecks of like red and yellow and blue in it. And it was, dimly lit. The walls were like a maroon color with like a navy wainscoting. You had the prize area, which was these glass cases that had, these are spider rings and little pencil toppers. And there's always this one prize that no one could ever possibly afford because it was like 30,000 tickets and it was like an NES or something like that. And the guys behind, we had two at my arcade. One looked like he took his job way too seriously. Like he was willing to fight you, it looked like. And the other one looked like he did not give a shit about being there at all and just looked super lazy. And if something went wrong, you'd have to go to one of them, and you'd hope you get the guy who's taking it seriously because the other one would just be like, oh, here's a couple quarters, go play something else. But... yeah, my first, and by the way, I brought this question up to our Discord because you can also join the conversation on our Discord, and I'm going to sprinkle some of these in as we go. But one question was, does playing the Ninja Turtles cabinet at Pizza Hut count as an arcade? It's a gray area because it is an arcade machine, But my first arcade machine was at a pizza place.
Now, I did read that, and I know that person, and that was the closest thing to an arcade that they would have had for like 30 miles. So, yes, I'm going to say in that case, it does.
In that case, yeah, it counts. Pantera's Pizza, East Alton, Illinois, inside the Eastgate Center shopping center, which is a strip mall. There was a Pantera's Pizza there, and they had a Street Fighter II cabinet. And the department store next door to them had a Super Mario Brothers cabinet. Have you ever seen a Super Mario Brothers arcade cabinet?
Once.
Yeah, it's so rare, and I didn't quite grasp it, but my grandpa and I, we'd get a pizza, he'd kick my ass in Street Fighter, and then, off to home. But, the arcades that I've been to growing up, there was a huge emphasis on, it was the fighting game boom. Mm-hmm. There was racing game, Daytona USA was great. There was the dirt bike ones where you get on like an actual dirt bike. I think my favorite, and I promise I'll get to the fighting game story, my favorite was Afterburner. Sega.
Oh, yeah.
This was where you pilot a jet, and you climb into the cockpit, and it's got hydraulics built in, so it will actually rotate left or right or up or down, and that was so freaking cool, and it really immersed you.
Not smoothly, but it did.
No, but it immersed you in the game. And long after consoles had started to catch up with Super Nintendo and the Genesis and eventually the PS1, gaming consoles were catching up to the arcades, and they became less and less popular. But I still made it a point to go because it's an arcade. Arcades are cool in my mind. And I'm playing Tekken 3, a fighting game.
Yeah.
And I'm just minding my business. It's all of these are programmed the same. You win the first fight because the computer takes it easy on you, and then the next fight, it ramps up the difficulty so it can get more quarters from you, and it just absolutely dog walks you. Mm-hmm. But I'm halfway through losing to the computer, and a kid comes up, and he puts a quarter in. Doesn't ask if he and you don't have to. It's the law of the arcade. If there's an open spot, if it's a 2-player cabinet, just drop a quarter in. And so he dropped a quarter in, and I just locked eyes with him. And it was almost like, so you've come to challenge me, kind of thing. And I won, and then I immediately lost to the computer after he left.
Yeah. But you won 2 in a row then.
Yeah, I did win 2 in a row. But I think part of the mystique for the arcade is that, one, the games just looked so much better than they did on home consoles, at least at that point.
Yeah.
And 2, there was the social element to it, where you'd run into kids from school, you'd run into kids you'd never met before, and you immediately had that bonding experience because you both were there in a shared activity, and it was before the days of internet anonymity where you can just be a little cock monster online, and that's my one. And, just ruin a person's day when I've worked, 10 hours a day and I just want to play some Call of Duty and I've got some idiot kid that's teabagging me. That's not fun. But at an arcade, 1, you don't act that way because you're going to get punched in the mouth. And 2, it seemed like a nicer experience. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, I agree.
Yeah.
Probably because there was no anonymity. It's
yeah, you can't hide. So what were some of your favorite games to play at the arcade? I mentioned a few of mine.
Yeah, so the original Turtles arcade game.
Absolutely, yeah.
The Simpsons game where Maggie gets kidnapped because a bank robbery is happening and they run into them and her pacifier flies out and she grabs the diamond and starts sucking on it. So they just grab Maggie and run off with her.
Yeah, Mr. Smithers, Mr. Burns' assistant, Waylon Smithers, Black Smithers, because this is season 1 Smithers, is just robbing a bank for some reason.
Yeah.
Any others?
See, See, my personal headcanon on that is since they changed Smithers in later seasons, that was Smithers' evil twin brother, Mithers.
Why's the bank robbing one got to be black, Matt Groening?
Yeah, Matt.
Konami, more like Konami.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyway,
so X-Men was good?
Yeah, X-Men was good, but my two personal favorites that if I ever saw them, I'm like, that one.
So beat 'em ups.
Yeah, beat 'em ups. And I remember, and going back to does the Turtles or whatever arcade at a Pizza Hut count? My first real memory of seeing an arcade cabinet was going to visit my grandparents in Fayette, Missouri, tiny little town. The Dairy Queen had a Turtles arcade game. And I just remember walking in there with my grandpa to pick up dinner. I'm like, what is this? That doesn't look like April. Why do I have funny feelings?
And they always, outside of like legit arcades, these machines would just pop up wherever.
Right.
Which was kind of cool because you never knew. There was a grocery store in southern Illinois, Harrisburg, Illinois, a really small town. And we went into the grocery store because we were there vacationing to see family. And there's a friggin' Mortal Kombat 2 arcade cabinet in like kind of like the atrium area where you come in, but you're not like in the grocery store yet.
Yeah. Where the carts are.
Where the carts are, yeah. And I'm like, it's a hometown IGA. And I'm playing Mortal Kombat 2 with this kid that I have never met before and will never see again. And, my grandparents usually kept me on a tight leash, but when we were in that town visiting relatives, it was pretty much free reign. They figured no one's going to take him here. So they just kind of left me at the cabinet with a stack of quarters.
He hasn't made enemies here yet. No one wants him.
Another thing brought up in the Discord, and this is something that it was weird when we started getting into the modern era. We got more and more peripheral-based arcade machines. I mean, there's like the drum one, but then Gungraves on Discord mentioned Guitar Freaks, which was the Japanese precursor to Guitar Hero and Rock Band. Only had 3 buttons on the fretboard, and it was Japanese rock songs. And now you see Guitar Hero.
I never saw that one, yeah.
And neither had I, but now you see Guitar Hero. And as we transition into like the modern era, because arcades kind of went away for a while.
Yeah.
When the PS1 and the Saturn and the PS2 and all that stuff really kind of took over. And at some point, I don't know when, but at some point they started to just start showing back up. I think it was when people like you and me who grew up with these decided that they wanted to bring them back. And we were adults now. We had the income to do it. And so we just did it.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, I was going to say the bowling alley in the town where I live has an arcade, and not just like a couple of machines. Like the bowling alley takes up the back half of the building. There's a restaurant to the left, and the right is arcade. And we're talking all manner of games.
Nice.
And it's nice.
At its peak, there were video game factories pumping out 150,000 cabinets a year because arcades were everywhere. And then, like I said, they slowly started to fade away. And then in the early to mid 2000s, started to make a comeback because of 2 concepts: Dave and Buster's.
Yeah.
So a barcade, if you will.
Uh-huh.
And barcades are all over the place now. And then there's places like I have a casino near where I live, and the casino has this little addition where it is just a straight-up arcade. It's a place to take the kids. But there's bumper cars, there's go-karting, there's like a VR ride, there's laser tag, and the machines that they have are what I would consider more amusements, right? You've got air hockey, you got basketball, you got skee-ball, you've got all sorts of crane machines and things that generate tickets, but they're not really tickets, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And then there's maybe 3 machines that I would consider an arcade machine from like our era, and it's Donkey Kong, Galaga, and a fighting game, one of the Tekken games, and that's it. Everything else is some kind of peripheral-based thing. That's kind of where we live now. So I guess the question would be like, I don't know if I would say it's better or worse, but it just doesn't have the same feeling. Does that make sense?
No, you're right. It doesn't.
They're more well lit.
Yeah, and that's weird. No,
They're
I don't
safer.
want to. Yeah, no, I don't want to look at you. Another core arcade style memory is Six Flags St. Louis. So you get off the log flume ride, and then tucked away in a corner, like to get back to the rest of the park, you had to walk through this arcade area. My parents would never let me stop and play the games, but I always remember walking in, and the cold air would hit you because you were wet from the log flume or Thunder Mountain, whatever it was. It was a wet ride. And it was just the sounds of the arcade, the clinking and the beeping and whatever. And I'm just like, I like this place.
There was just some sort of unspoken appeal.
Yeah.
And we're not even getting into stuff that really pushed, like, the genre forward. Like, the Space Ace game with Don Bluth, doing the animation for that and Dragon's Age.
Yeah.
Which those games were just designed to suck all your money away.
Oh, my God,
or
those were so hard.
NBA Jam, which is the most profitable arcade machine to date because you had to pay per quarter of each basketball game you're playing. There's 4 quarters in a game. So, you finish the first quarter in the lead, you got to pony up more money to keep playing or whatever. And fun fact about that, people know this by now, but the developers, Midway, they were Detroit Pistons fans. And if you played as the Chicago Bulls, the difficulty would ramp up in the fourth quarter to prevent you from winning.
I do remember you telling me that at one point, yeah.
Because they hated the Bulls so much. But, I mean, I don't know. And what really got me thinking about this as a topic was recently, both you and I, separate visits, went to a place that I mentioned at the start of this episode, the Hero Complex in St. Peters, Missouri. And it is this is what I would say is a good definition, good model of the current arcade setup. You've got some interactive games. You've got some ride/VR games. Mm-hmm. You've got maybe 3 or 4 classic cabinet ones. Like there's a Turtles cabinet in the back.
Yeah.
You got some train games.
There was an old school like multi-game with Galaga and stuff like that.
And you've got like your skee-ball and your basketball and your other amusement titles.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where I love that something like this. I love that the arcades of today exist. I love that it's still a thing. But man, what I wouldn't give for another day at a dimly lit, slightly smelling of cigar smoke. The carpets
you could smoke in the buildings back in those days.
The carpets haven't been cleaned since 1985. The wood grain change machines. What I wouldn't give for one more day of those.
Not even a full day, just a few hours. Yeah,
just a few hours.
Shout out to Mel's Dragon Wings. She's the one that asked about does the game in the Pizza Hut count as an arcade? Yeah. And I totally blanked on her handle when we were talking about it. So that's who asked the question.
I didn't quote her. So yeah, thank you for catching that.
So don't at me when this comes out and you're mad. There you are.
Thank you for your submission.
Yes.
So yeah, I didn't really have anywhere else I wanted to go other than just I wanted to wax nostalgic a little bit about something that is technically still around but also isn't.
It is, but it isn't. Exactly like you said. It's still there, but
it's in this weird state right now.
Different. Yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out to our mutual friend Kevin, who got me a Raspberry Pi. And so it's like I now have access to all these games that I had as a kid. It's not
You got
quite
kind of like a mini arcade there.
Yeah, it's not quite the same as having my original Nintendo that I would, decide, do I want to play Mario or Turtles? Because I only had 2 cartridges for the NES.
Yeah. And as a kid, we were more likely to put up with tough games because what you had is what you played.
Yeah, but we also, when video stores started renting games, I tried out a ton of games back then.
Yeah.
But it's great, and I love this thing, but it's not quite the same.
Right. Same thing. Just GameFly is not quite Blockbuster, but it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, hey, thanks for letting me wax poetic a little bit and nostalgic
anytime.
About arcades. And by the way, if you've got a topic you want us to talk about, or you got any questions, you want to get some early access to episodes, and you want to find out what we're doing with Extra Life for Children's Miracle Network, all that stuff, 2 easy ways. First, go to geekcavepodcast.com. And secondly, join our Discord. There is a link there at the top where you can join our Discord and get in on the conversation and all that stuff. And I believe it is going to be your turn for a topic next time.
All right. I'll come up with something.
Bye.
Bye.